Hello students, I am VLN Swarupini, lecturer in biochemistry from Sri Venkateswara College of Arts and Sciences, which is affiliated to Adikavi Nannaya University, Rajahmundry. Now, I would like to discuss about second BSc fourth semester biochemistry paper, that is intermediary metabolism. From this paper, we are seeing topics from Unit 4, and Unit 4 is about metabolism of nucleic acids. So, here in this unit, we are seeing about the purine and pyrimidine metabolism, and in the last class, we have discussed purine biosynthesis. So, if you see once again, this purine biosynthesis will start with a simple compound, that is alpha D ribose 5 phosphate. That is simply we can call it as ribose 5 phosphate. So this ribose 5 phosphate is converted into phosphoribosyl pyrophosphate, 5 phosphoribosyl alpha pyrophosphate with the action of the enzyme phosphoribosyl pyrophosphate synthase. Okay, sorry, synthetase. So this is the enzyme which will convert this ribose 5 phosphate into PRPP. Okay, that means phosphoribosyl pyrophosphate, which is a ATP dependent enzyme here. Okay, then this is converted into, this PRPP is converted into phosphoribosyl amine by donation of an amine group from glutamine. So glutamine will donate the amine group to this phosphoribosyl pyrophosphate to form beta 5 phosphoribosyl amine, and this beta phosphoribosyl amine is converted into glycinamide ribosyl 5 phosphate by the enzyme synthetase. Again, here another amino acid glycine is added to this particular compound. Again, glycinamide ribosyl 5 phosphate is converted into formyl glycinamide ribosyl 5 phosphate, so which is a THF dependent enzyme. Formyl transferase will catalyze this particular reaction. Okay, and from this formyl glycinamide ribosyl 5 phosphate is converted into this 5 amino imidazole ribosyl 5 phosphate, and here whatever the imidazole ring is present, it is closed by the addition of one more glutamine. So if you see the structure here, formyl glycinamide ribosyl 5 phosphate, this will be in this manner: NH CH2 C double bond O, NH C double bond O, ribose 5 phosphate is converted into this manner. Okay, so ring will be closed, and here this 5 amino imidazole ribosyl 5 phosphate is converted into 5 amino imidazole carboxylate ribosyl 5 phosphate by the enzyme carboxylase. Okay, and this 5 amino imidazole carboxylate ribosyl 5 phosphate is converted into 5 amino imidazole 4 succinyl carboxymide ribosyl 5 phosphate, and here the enzyme is again synthetase, and this compound 5 amino imidazole 4 succinyl carboxymide ribosyl 5 phosphate is converted into 5 amino imidazole 4 carboxyamide ribosyl 5 phosphate, and this 5 amino imidazole 4 carboxyamide ribosyl 5 phosphate is converted into 5 form amino imidazole 4 carboxamide ribosyl 5 phosphate. Here the enzyme is formyl transferase, which is a THF dependent enzyme, and this 5 form amino imidazole 4 carboxamide ribosyl 5 phosphate is converted into inosine monophosphate by the enzyme cyclohydrolase. So here inosine monophosphate is a base compound precursor for the purine synthesis. So purines will be synthesized from this inosine monophosphate. Okay, so in the last class we discussed about this biosynthesis. Now let's see salvage pathway. So whenever this particular purine biosynthesis is not done essentially. So whatever the purines are already present, from that purines again these these compounds will be produced, and adenine, guanine, hypoxanthine, these will be converted into purines. Okay, adenine will be converted into adenosine monophosphate with the enzyme adenine phosphoribosyl transferase, and guanine is converted into guanosine monophosphate, that is hypoxanthine guanine phosphoribosyl transferase. And the third reaction is hypoxanthine is converted into inosine monophosphate by the enzyme hypoxanthine guanine phosphoribosyl transferase. Hypoxanthine guanine phosphoribosyl transferase is the enzyme which converts hypoxanthine to inosine monophosphate. Okay, these three purines will helpful in the production of purine nucleotides. Okay, so now let's see about biosynthesis of pyrimidine nucleotides. Biosynthesis of pyrimidine nucleotides. So here in the first step what happens is glutamine, it will transfer its amido nitrogen to carbon dioxide to produce carbamyl phosphate. So in this step what happens is the enzyme carbamyl phosphate synthase 2 will help formation of this carbamyl phosphate by combination of glutamine and also a carbon dioxide. So if you see the reaction here, CO2 plus glutamine will combine to form carbamyl phosphate, which is a ATP dependent enzyme carbamyl phosphate synthetase 2. So this will form carbamyl phosphate. Okay, so here two ATP molecules are utilized and the water molecule is also utilized during the reaction. Okay, this is the first step. And next step what happens? So now carbamyl phosphate will condense with another amino acid called aspartate to form carbamyl aspartate, and this reaction will be catalyzed by the enzyme aspartate transcarbamylase. So here carbamyl phosphate is converted into carbamyl aspartate by combination of carbamyl phosphate and aspartate. Here the enzyme which is catalyzing this reaction is aspartate transcarbamylase. Dihydroorotase is the another important enzyme which catalyzes the pyrimidine ring closure with a loss of water molecule. So if you see the reaction here, so carbamyl phosphate is produced, and this carbamyl phosphate, it will act with aspartate to form carbamyl aspartate, and the enzyme is aspartate transcarbamylase. Okay, so next what happens is a water molecule will be eliminated. So for the closure of the ring. Okay, so the enzyme catalyzing the reaction is dihydroorotase, and this dihydroorotate, it undergoes dehydrogenation by the action of a dehydrogenase leading to the formation of orotate, and this is a NAD plus dependent reaction. Okay, let's see that. So carbamyl aspartate is converted into dihydroorotate by removal of a water molecule which is catalyzed by the enzyme dihydroorotase, and this dihydroorotate is converted into orotate by the action of the enzyme dihydroorotate dehydrogenase, and this dihydroorotate dehydrogenase is a NAD plus dependent enzyme. It is a NAD plus dependent enzyme. Okay, so till now we have got orotate. Now after this step what happens is orotate is converted into orotidine monophosphate. Orotate is converted into orotidine monophosphate by the addition of ribose 5-phosphate. By the addition of ribose 5-phosphate, and this reaction is catalyzed by the enzyme orotate phosphoribosyl transferase. Okay. So the enzyme here is phosphoribosyl transferase. This phosphoribosyl transferase, that is orotate phosphoribosyl transferase, it will convert orotate into orotate monophosphate. So here that is orotate is converted into orotidine monophosphate. So let's see the reactions. So orotate is converted into orotidine monophosphate by the enzyme orotate phosphoribosyl transferase. By orotate phosphoribosyl transferase. So now we have got orotidine monophosphate. This is converted into uridine monophosphate. This is converted into uridine monophosphate by the enzyme orotidine monophosphate decarboxylase. Orotidine monophosphate decarboxylase. So orotidine monophosphate decarboxylase, it led for the formation of this compound. Okay, that is uridine monophosphate. Next what happens is, here a kinase enzyme, kinase means always ATP dependent enzymes these are, and here this uridine monophosphate is converted into uridine diphosphate, and here uridine diphosphate is a precursor for pyrimidines, like inosine monophosphate being the precursor for the purines. So here uridine diphosphate is formed by the uridine monophosphate by the action of a ATP dependent kinase enzyme. Okay, so the precursor UDP will help in the formation of DUMP, DTMP, UTP and CTP. So let's see the reactions. So uridine monophosphate is formed by the action of uridine monophosphate decarboxylase, and uridine monophosphate is converted into deoxyuridine diphosphate, that is DUDP and UTP. So here the enzyme is kinase. Okay, so if the activity of enzyme kinase is seen, UDP is converted into UTP. So kinase means ATP dependent, and it will transfer a phosphate group to the compound. Obviously by transfer of a phosphate group there will be increase in the phosphate groups, and UDP, uridine diphosphate, is converted into uridine triphosphate. Okay, again this uridine triphosphate is converted into CTP, that is cytidine triphosphate, by the enzyme CTP synthetase. Okay, so UDP now is converted into DUDP, that is deoxyuridine diphosphate, and this deoxyuridine diphosphate is converted into DUMP, that means one phosphate group is eliminated. Deoxyuridine monophosphate is produced. Again this DUMP is converted into DTMP, that is thymidine, by the action of the enzyme thymidylate synthetase. Okay, thymidylate synthetase. So this is how pyrimidine molecules will be produced. Now let's see about salvage pathway. Just a simple points here. So these pyrimidines can also serve as precursors. So whatever the pyrimidines that are present in our body, they can serve as the precursor for the pyrimidine nucleotides formation. So here, what is the precursor for the pyrimidine nucleotide formation? So here, whatever this uridine monophosphate is there, it is called as the precursor. So in case of the absence of uridine precursor, or in any case this pyrimidine biosynthesis is not carried, then pyrimidine molecules directly act as precursor for the pyrimidine nucleotide synthesis. Okay, so here the pyrimidines directly are converted into respective nucleotides. Okay, and the reaction is catalyzed by pyrimidine phosphoribosyl transferase enzyme. Okay, and they require a source of ribose 5 phosphate. So this is how pyrimidine nucleotides will be synthesized. Okay, so now let's see about the catabolism of purine nucleotides and pyrimidine nucleotides. Let's see about the purine nucleotides. So here catabolism means nothing but degradation. So whatever the purine or pyrimidine molecules will be produced, they will be so catabolism means nothing but degradation. Whatever the purines or pyrimidines that are produced in our body, they undergo metabolism, and after certain time after metabolism they enter the degradation process. So let's see about the purine nucleotide catabolism. Catabolism of purine nucleotides. Here the end product of purine metabolism is uric acid. Okay, so in all individuals this end product will be different. That means from one organism to other organism. That means from one species to other species. So particularly in humans the end product is uric acid. Okay, so now let's see how this uric acid is produced from this purine nucleotides. Okay, so here purine nucleotides means adenosine monophosphate, inosine monophosphate and guanosine monophosphate. Here inosine monophosphate is a precursor for this AMP and GMP. Okay, so these three will be converted into respective nucleotides by the action of the enzyme nucleotidases. Okay, so these enzyme nucleotidases will convert AMP, IMP and GMP into their respective nucleosides. Okay, whatever the amino group present either in the AMP or adenosine can be removed to produce inosine monophosphate. That means AMP, adenosine monophosphate, can be converted into inosine monophosphate by removal of the amino group. Okay, or adenosine can be converted into inosine monophosphate by the removal of this amino group. Okay, and here inosine and guanosine are respectively converted into hypoxanthine and guanine by purine nucleotide phosphorylase. So here inosine and guanosine, these will be converted into hypoxanthine and guanine. Here the enzyme acting is purine nucleoside phosphorylase. So this is the enzyme which converts inosine and guanosine into hypoxanthine and guanine. Okay, and here adenosine is not degraded by the enzyme, hence it has to be converted into inosine. So here adenosine is not directly converted into any other compound, that's why it should be converted into inosine first, then it can be degraded easily to the other products. Okay, so here adenosine is not degraded so easily by using different enzymes, so it is converted into inosine, and then from that inosine it can be easily degraded. Okay, it can be easily degraded. Okay, so next guanine undergoes deamination to guanase to form xanthine. So here guanine can be converted into xanthine by the activity of the enzyme guanase. Okay, so first let's see the reactions, then you can get a better idea. So if you see this, adenosine is converted into, AMP is converted into adenosine, and IMP is converted into inosine, GMP is converted into guanosine, and again inosine is converted into hypoxanthine, and hypoxanthine is converted into xanthine, xanthine is converted into uric acid. And here GMP, if you see about GMP, GMP is converted into guanosine, guanosine is converted into guanine, guanine is converted into xanthine, xanthine is converted into uric acid, and again this adenosine is converted into inosine. Again the same reactions, inosine is converted into the hypoxanthine, hypoxanthine is converted into xanthine, xanthine is converted into uric acid. So this is the urine mechanism. So hope you understood now. So here guanine undergoes deamination by guanase enzyme to form xanthine. Here again xanthine oxidase is an important enzyme that converts hypoxanthine to xanthine and xanthine to uric acid. So here the same enzyme, what it will do, converts hypoxanthine to xanthine, xanthine to uric acid. So this enzyme converts FKD molybdenum. This enzyme contains FKD, molybdenum, iron, and exclusively found in liver and small intestine. Okay, so here xanthine oxidase liberates H2O2, okay, hydrogen peroxide, which is harmful to the tissues. So this catalase cleaves H2O2 into H2O and O2. So during this reaction, what happens? Hydrogen peroxide, that is H2O2, is released. As this hydrogen peroxide is dangerous to human tissues, it is again cleaved into water molecule and a oxygen molecule. Okay, so here uric acid, that is 2, 6, 8, trioxypurine, is a final excretive product of the purine metabolism in humans particularly. So this uric acid is excreted through urine. Okay, it can serve as an important antioxidant by getting itself converted into allantoin. So it can be again converted into allantoin, and it is believed that the antioxidant role of ascorbic acid in primates is replaced by uric acid, since these animals have lost the ability to synthesize ascorbic acid. So this is all not necessary, but till uric acid formation we required. Okay, so here most animals however oxidase uric acid by the enzyme uricase to allantoin, where the purine ring is cleaved. This allantoin is then converted into allantoic acid and excreted in some fish. So this is about this. Now once again see the reactions. AMP is converted into adenosine by the enzyme nucleotidase. So similarly IMP is converted into inosine. GMP is converted into guanosine. So here the common enzyme is nucleotidase. This enzymes convert IMP into adenosine, AMP into AMP into adenine, IMP into inosine, GMP into guanosine. Now this adenosine is again converted into inosine by the enzyme adenosine deaminase. So this is a deamination reaction where adenosine is converted into inosine, and again this inosine is converted into hypoxanthine. Inosine is converted into hypoxanthine. Here the enzyme is purine nucleoside phosphorylase. Purine nucleoside phosphorylase. Okay. And hypoxanthine is converted into xanthine by the enzyme xanthine oxidase. By the enzyme xanthine oxidase. And xanthine is converted into uric acid by again xanthine oxidase. So here xanthine oxidase converts hypoxanthine to xanthine and xanthine to uric acid. During the reaction, H2O2 is released, that is hydrogen peroxide. So here during the action of this xanthine oxidase, H2O2, that is hydrogen peroxide, is released. It is again liberated it to H2O and oxygen. So this is about the inosine. Now guanosine, which is produced from GMP, is converted into guanine by the enzyme purine nucleoside phosphorylase. Okay, guanine is converted into xanthine by the activity of guanase. So again the same reactions. Xanthine oxidase converts xanthine to uric acid, which we can call it as 2,6,8, trioxypurine. Okay. So this is about catabolism of purines. Now let's see about the catabolism of pyrimidines. Okay. So pyrimidine nucleotides, they undergo similar reactions, that is dephosphorylation, deamination, cleavage of glycosidic bonds, which are seen in the purine nucleotides. Okay, and here cytosine, uracil and thymine will be liberated, and the bases which are then degraded to highly soluble products, that is beta-alanine and beta-amino isobutyrate. These are the amino acids which undergo transamination and other reactions to finally produce acetyl-CoA and succinyl-CoA. So here in purines what happens, reactions like deamination and dephosphorylation and cleavaging of glycosidic bonds are commonly seen, and again what happens, these pyrimidines are converted into, pyrimidines means cytosine, uracil and thymine are converted into lesser soluble, highly soluble products like beta-alanine and beta-amino isobutyrate. Okay, so these can be easily soluble, highly soluble, and these are the amino acids which undergo transamination and other reactions to finally produce acetyl-CoA and succinyl-CoA, which are the intermediate products of Krebs cycle. Okay, so this is about the biosynthesis of purines, biosynthesis of pyrimidines, their salvage pathways and catabolism. Okay. In the next class, we will see about the rest of the topics from this unit. Okay. So, if you have any doubts, please contact me. Write the notes carefully and revise these structures 1 to 2 times. Thank you, students.